Carol Kiru Jr. with the news update. New Porgera will deliver unprecedented benefits to the people of Papua New Guinea once it kicks off operation next Friday, December 22, 2023. The New Porgera Limited, in an official media statement released yesterday, announced that all legal and contractual conditions necessary for the reopening of Porgera Mine have now been met, and the mine is set to reopen on December 22, 2023. Prime Minister James Marape, in his speech at the 17th PNG Resources and Energy Conference in Sydney, said the long road to Porgera's reopening has reached the finish line. At an assumed gold price of $1,800 per ounce, PNG shareholders can expect to receive nearly approximately 27.6 billion kina over 20 years and 10.6 billion kina in the first 10 years. NPL will be managed by Barrick New Guinea Limited and is expected to employ more than 2,300 people by June 2024 and over 3,000 by the end of 2024. With the ramp-up of operations, first gold is expected to be poured into the first quarter of 2024. The Independent Consumer and Competition Commission has given clearance to Kumul Petroleum Holdings Limited to acquire up to 5% project interest in the PNG LNG project from the Santos proposed acquisition. ICCC Commissioner and Chief Executive Officer Paulus Ain said ICCC made this decision following its assessment and considers that the proposed transaction will not affect competition or change the competitive dynamics of the market in PNG. Ain said the proposed acquisition would increase KPHL's interest in the PNG LNG project to 21.8%, increasing PNG's interest in the PNG LNG project. This will help achieve the objective of ensuring that the people of PNG benefit more through greater equity interest in the development of their natural resources. ExxonMobil has emphasized the pivotal role of liquefied natural gas in meeting global energy demand sustainability during the 17th PNG Resources and Energy Investment Conference in Sydney, Australia. The company outlined strategic LNG investments and emissions management initiatives. With a focus on Asia-Pacific countries, including Papua New Guinea, ExxonMobil envisions a long-term partnership to address energy needs. Beyond energy projects, the company highlighted environmental conservation efforts in Gulf Province, emphasizing its commitment to a responsible and sustainable future. The PNG and Papua LNG projects, along with exploration activities, position PNG as a key energy supplier beyond 2050. A group of youths from Yalibu Station in Southern Highlands Province raised funds for a new church building estimated to cost more than 2 million kina. The objective is to demonstrate their commitment and dedication to the project, even though they live far from home. The group has already raised 15,000 kina through 8 successful mini fundraisers for St. Clair Parish Catholic Church. Chairman Solomon Mundia shared that the idea for fundraising came about as the church set a target for all church members to contribute 5,000 kina towards building a new permanent church. The construction is planned to commence at the end of 2024. In regional news, Tropical Cyclone Jasper is bearing down on Australia's Queensland coast. Authorities have renewed their reminder to ensure those in areas at risk have their plans and evacuation kits ready to go.
Imagine you're just going about your day at home and then there's a knock at the door. It's the State Emergency Service. There's an emergency and you have to leave your home.
Good. I'm Alex and this is Nicole. We're from the State Emergency Service here in Mackay.
Okay, we've got 10 minutes and we have to get together everything that's important. Okay, so meet me back here in 10 minutes.
So ready?
Ready?
5,
Okay.
4, 3, 2, 1, go!
When an emergency is unfolding, there can be very little time between that knock on the door and you needing to get out. So how can you make sure that you and your family get out fast with all the essentials and valuables you need?
They're in the safe. And some of the birth certificates.
Each family member sets about grabbing what they think they'll need to survive away from home for between 3 and 7 days.
Do we have a torch?
Shed.
Oh yeah. I'll get a torch.
So you need a pair of shoes.
I'll just get my Crocs.
Okay, well, go grab your shoes.
Like many families, the Grants have some four-legged members, so it's important your plan includes taking your pets and any items they may need. When you're putting your evacuation kit together, it's worth thinking about the basic items that you may need if you can't return home for several days.
Which second one, Charles?
Well, I'd probably get them all in real life.
Come on.
So how helpful was this exercise?
Probably very helpful because it just shows what we should be packing.
We definitely need to tweak our evacuation plan to make sure we have everything we need.
I think they went pretty well myself. You know, the fact that they weren't running around the house like headless chooks trying to find things, that they had a really fair idea of where everything was to start with, was really encouraging.
And so if people were looking at this and thinking, right, I really need to get my disaster or go bag sorted, what would you suggest they do to make that process a bit easier?
Practice the procedure we've just done this afternoon at home in your own time. Grab a waterproof box or something, or like a space case or something like that. Put all your bits and pieces in there that you don't use day to day, and just be prepared for it. Just grab it, throw it in the car and off you go.
And refer to your emergency action guide. That's got the list in there, which helps you prepare your kit, so whatever you need is in there.
You can also find lots of helpful information on the ABC Emergency website.
Attempts to forge an historical deal to phase out fossil fuels at this year's UN climate talks are hanging by a thread after a draft agreement dropped references to the term. An updated draft text was released overnight, sparking immediate anger from Pacific Island nations worried about the effects of global warming on their survival.
In the final frantic days of COP28, the youngest member of Australia's delegation, oblivious to the chaos around.
Apart from, reminding everyone why they're here, like she's literally the embodiment of the future, everyone's coming up to me saying I feel instantly calm when I have a look at her. It's obviously a very stressful environment right now.
Her mother, on the other hand, fully aware of the stakes at play.
It's coming to the pointy end. There's obviously some intransigence from certain countries that don't want the mention of fossil fuels, so I think it's all to play for.
Those stakes were raised higher last night when a draft agreement failed to make any mention of phasing out or phasing down fossil fuels. In its place was a reference to reducing both the consumption and production of the fuels.
Dear delegates, we have a text and we need to agree on the text. The time for discussion is coming to an end, and there is no time for hesitation. The time to decide is now.
Many poorer and more vulnerable countries were dismayed.
If we do not have strong mitigation outcomes at this COP, then this will be the COP where 1.5 would have died. We will not sign our gift certificates.
Until 2 years ago, no COP had ever directly mentioned any of the fossil fuels as part of efforts to tackle global warming. That all changed in Glasgow, when a commitment to phase out coal was included for the first time. But here in Dubai, efforts to widen the net to include oil and gas are coming unstuck.
So we've engaged in very good faith, knowing that there are countries that respectfully, I say, have a different view. Saudi Arabia, for example, is on the public record as having a very different view.
We know where the big sticking point is, and it's around energy, specifically whether we phase down or we phase out unabated or full fossil fuels.
But COP28 is being held next door to Saudi Arabia, the world's biggest oil exporter, has always cast a long shadow over its chances of achieving a deal to phase out fossil fuels. With just a couple of days left of negotiations, time is running out to prove the doubters wrong.
And the wait is over for nearly 60,000 Victorian Year 12 students with VCE results released this morning.
morning, with more than 50,000 students receiving an ATAR score, the first state to receive results, thanking those who supported them throughout the year. Although for Mansha Aurora, her final year of school came with more stress than most. The Glen Ira College student spent the past year acting as a primary caregiver to her single mother who has cancer.
Now that I think about it, the whole journey, I am quite proud of what I have achieved with what little I had in the beginning.
And it was triple joy for these triplets, all receiving a score over 90.
I'm very surprised. I didn't really expect the results that I got, but I'm still really proud.
While some were very happy with their results, others were disappointed. But students have been reminded they are much more than a mark.
Today, though, too, marks the start of another journey. And Victoria being the education state, there are many, many opportunities.
The VCE Vocational Major Certificate was new this year, providing practical experience in one or more industries, replacing the old VCAL system.
We want to ensure that TAFE in particular is seen as an equal choice to university, not a second choice.
The average ATAR for this year was 69.41. That's a slight decrease on last year's 70.33, although principals are commending this year's cohort for disruptions to learning across formative years.
We're really conscious that in Year 9 and Year 10, which are really formative years, that they were locked up.
It's one chapter at an end and a new one about to begin.
In sports, Herbie Farnworth has started pre-season training with the Dolphins yesterday since signing with the club on a 3-year deal. The reigning centre of the year in the NRL was one of the shining lights in the Brisbane Broncos side that made the grand final in the 2023 NRL season. The England representative player quit the club to join Wayne Bennett at the new franchise. As he was put through his paces on his first official day of pre-season training under Bennett yesterday, Farnworth looked fit and right at home in his new training kit. Signed by Bennett to play for the Broncos as a teenager, Farnworth never got the chance to play under his former mentor. But the pair are now back together at the Dolphins. Farnworth's 2023 season was his best since bursting on the scene of rugby league. The new recruit is expected to continue his sublime form in the 2024 season at his new club. And that ends our midday news. Join us for more at 6.